In today's episode, you're going to learn the difference between avoidant attachment and avoidant anxiety so that you can heal from trauma and live a healthy, balanced life being you. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing, for your comments and questions, and learning how to heal from emotional trauma wounds and narcissistic abuse. It really means a lot to me that you are doing your work, and sharing these videos really helps me to reach more people and empower each and every one of you to be your own healer. So thank you. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you never miss another episode. Before I begin, you can take the attachment style quiz to learn more about yourself and how you tick. I'll post the link in the description box below. For now, know that in attachment theory, we are always looking to come back to a balanced state of safety, connection, and belonging. And we only need 20 to 30% attunement for secure attachment as children to actually happen. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. With all maladaptive attachment styles, avoidant attachment is a survival mechanism that you set up as a way of coping in childhood when a parent perhaps was emotionally absent, or because they were not able to regulate their own feelings, they avoided contact with you as a child and they dissociated on an emotional level. And the basic needs of feeding and caring are very cold and automatic. There's just no love and connection, and the child feels unwanted and alone as a result of that. There is never any attempt to repair, and the child may run to their room from the dinner table upset, waiting for the parent to come back and get them, and they never do. I made another video on the absent mother, which I'll post below, and another one on the parentified child, which will really help you to understand that none of this is your fault and that you can heal. You can be the secure mother for your child parts. And when I see clients with an avoidant attachment style, there's often no memory of their childhood. They kind of feel like they grew up alone and unseen. And as an adult, that they now avoid intimacy, they push people away, they say I'm fine when they're starving for connection. And this type have the ability to bounce back quickly and move on because they downplay and minimize their hurt. Independence is important, so they are often loners with no tribe because they don't trust people's intentions and they don't like to have people depend on them either. So they often don't get what they want, and when they do get it, they don't want it anymore. On the other hand, avoidant personality disorder is defined as some kind of social inhibition, and I believe this is not that much different to avoidant attachment style because think about it, when you feel unsafe around people, when you're afraid of rejection or feeling unworthy, as a child you may have been criticized or ridiculed or bullied or shamed, and you believe that your concerns are not important, that you don't matter. So you may have been called a shy child or a loner, or maybe you had a stutter, or you were told that you were uptight or frigid, or later on in life when you started dating, you found that you couldn't form close relationships. You really crave intimacy and connection more than anything. So by the time you've sort of hit your teenage years, you may have felt much more awkward socially and very inadequate, like you're always the outsider or the weird one. And it would become increasingly painful for you. You just want to fit in, and your anxiety would increase so that you would feel like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with you. And then you're hypervigilant and you're sensitive to the slightest show of disapproval in body language and facial expression. I certainly can relate to that a lot. It also becomes all-consuming to the point when you will avoid social situations because you're just afraid people are going to judge you. And your worldview is that it's not a safe place. Your experience in the family dynamic may have been that you're crazy or you were broken. And so in order to survive, you took on the scapegoat or orphan archetype. And as an adult, you may feel unable to let people in unless you're really, really certain that you can trust them. So intimacy can be really difficult for you. And of course, this just reinforces your faulty belief system that you're not lovable. And that overwhelming fear, that closeness and vulnerability of trusting another will lead to humiliation, ridicule, and rejection just keeps you separate. So you armor up and you rely on no one, or maybe you bury yourself in work to avoid the pain of feeling alone. And then people see you as unapproachable or snobbish, and the cycle continues. Because you will do anything to avoid pain, you'll also play small. You'll make yourself feel invisible, and you're very risk averse because you don't want to do anything that's going to embarrass or shame you. Also, there's some crossover between avoidant attachment and avoidant anxiety in the DSM, and I believe that both are survival patterns of adaptation. And in childhood, just think about it, the first time that you felt shame or rejection, or you were humiliated or criticized, normally by a parent, often a narcissistic one. I call that the original incident, where you developed a survival pattern to cope with your fears of abandonment and to avoid pain, that this never ever happens to you again. And it may have begun as social anxiety or withdrawal, to not draw attention to yourself because it didn't feel safe, but later it becomes fully blown as this developed attachment style of anxiousness. And if you had a peer or parent who worked with you through this initially, then you would have realized your fears were irrational in your present situation. And yes, you may still feel anxious in social settings, but you go on to build your circle of trusted friends where you can have healthy, intimate relationships. If the trauma of the original incident was left untreated, which goes for most of us, and your life experiences are validated by this deep-seated belief that you're unlovable and that you're deeply broken, your avoidant attachment style would continue to run your life in every area. And you may have a pattern of shutting down when someone you are interested in romantically gets too close, and your nervous system goes danger, danger, wires you to run or to self-sabotage so that they don't get close, even though that's really what you want. So once you can understand that this is how you coped, right? It's a coping strategy to deal with the pain of abandonment or fear of rejection, then you can start to rewire your nervous system. I help my clients with this through a process called mindful change, where we really go to the root cause or the story that holds the belief at the age that you were when it first happened. And we do this through compassionate inquiry, somatic release, and a whole lot of goodness in my energy medicine processes, so that you can rewrite your story and integrate the fragmented parts and pieces of you that you disowned and abandoned, so that nobody else could do it to you. You did it to yourself first. It's a really powerful process that can be used as more of your nervous system comes online to explore and integrate other child parts that may be running your life to come home to you as the secure adult. I'll link the details of the mindfulness process below in case that is something that you feel ready to work with me on. It's really, really powerful, and I love taking my clients through this so that they can really be their own self-healers and be their own medicine. Now that you know what avoidant attachment is and the difference between avoidant anxiety, please let me know in the comments if you have this style of attachment and what's worked for you to return to secure attachment and a healthy, regulated nervous system. Remember, it's your birthright to thrive, to know the world is a safe place, that you can learn to feel safe in your body and confident to be your authentic self out in the world. Connection, safety, and belonging are possible when you do the work and get support. And just by you being here and educating yourself, you've already begun. In the next episode, I'll help you understand the other attachment styles, ambivalent and disorganized. You can take the attachment quiz and start your healing through knowing how you're wired for safety on the link below.